The Gangster and the Sage. Episode 2. The Proposal. "I am Confucius from Lu," said the master, introducing himself to the gangster's muscle while respectfully bowing down twice. "And I know of your general's great righteousness." When Gangsta Zhi heard this, he fumed with anger. "This is the cunning hypocrite Confucius from Lu, right? You make up words and empty speeches idolizing ancient kings. You wear a hat with branches like a tree and a belt from the ribs of a dead cow. You talk too much about fancy doctrines. You eat, but you don't plow. And you dress, but you don't weave. Your lips always move, and your tongue is like a drumstick beating into others your inventions of right and wrong. With them, you've conned those in power and perverted those keen on learning. You fake family values to suck up to the rich and the rulers." Confucius replied, "You are more than 6 feet tall. Your eyes shine bright in your face. Your lips grow red. Your teeth are like rows of shells. Your voice sounds like a golden bell, and still they call you the Gangsta Zhi. To be honest, General, this makes me cringe, and I reject that name. General, please hear me out. Let me talk to the rulers of Wu and Yue in the south, of Qi and Lu in the north, of Song and Wei in the east, and of Jin and Chu in the west. I'll make sure, General, to get you a decent chunk of territory with a nicely sized population. Then, General, you'll be a lord too. You'll get a fresh start in the world, and you can let your troops have a rest. You will take good care of your brothers and kin, and sacrifice to the ancestors with them. This is the way all the great and talented men have been doing it, and everyone loves it." The Analects of Confucius, presumably put together by later generations of his followers, are a collection of records of what the master said and did. They focus heavily on his teachings on propriety or ritual, aesthetically refined and often highly formalized manners, supposed to adequately express emotions and ensure moral correctness in human interactions. What is more, they show Confucius' actual behavior in some detail. A person's character, the Confucian emphasis on ritual assumes, shows itself in virtually every activity and posture. One whole chapter of the Analects describes Confucius' daily life from such a ritual perspective. It includes many specifics ranging from eating and drinking etiquette to sleeping positions. One of the most important behavioral gestures in ancient China, and on some occasions still today, was bowing. It was a way of greeting which, though much more elaborate, is comparable in function to how we shake hands today. The manner of bowing and the number of bows was considered highly significant, and the Analects attest that Confucius too took bowing very seriously. One passage reads, "Bowing below the hall is prescribed by the rules of ceremony, but now the practice is to bow only after ascending it. That is arrogant. I continue to bow below the hall." Bowing was a central part of meeting others, especially in political contexts. As in today's diplomacy, one would not simply meet with anyone, particularly not if they were considered of dubious moral reputation or low standing. One passage in the Analects shows Confucius making a point of not receiving a visitor he apparently deemed inappropriate. Rory wished to see Confucius, but Confucius declined to see him on the grounds of being sick. When the bearer of this message went out the door, the master took his lute and sang with it in order that Bei might hear him. Given the moral delicacy of whom to visit or not in early Chinese culture, the very notion of Confucius traveling to see the Gangsta Zhi is quite surreal. To then have Confucius, the prime expert on greeting ceremony, bow twice in front of the arch-villain's security detail is rather sacrilegious, or better, bizarre. From the start, the diplomatic setting of Confucius' call on a major gangster is ironic. The mission becomes deeply satirical when Confucius introduces himself with an egregious lie, betraying his duplicity. "I know of your general's great righteousness." Unlike Confucius, whom the story has now outed as a parody of himself, the gangster is, in all his uncontrolled emotionality, brutally honest. Far from replying with the same fake politeness, he immediately unmasks Confucius as a cunning hypocrite. The presumably uneducated gangster, it turns out, is well aware of the sage's educated tricks. He knows that a favorite rhetorical device of the Confucians is to connect their own teachings with ancient heroes whom they like to name-drop to claim legitimacy for themselves. Just as hollow as this reference to a legendary past is their pompous attire. Unlike the common people, they dress in absurdly extravagant ways, intended to inspire awe and admiration. However, their ridiculous outfit only reveals their vanity. They make their living by constant talking that has no practical use. In fact, they live off the hard work of others without doing any labor themselves. Gangsta Zhi's portrayal of early Chinese intellectuals as exploitative ideologists who profit without producing gives some credibility to a Marxist reading of his character. At least in this story in the Zhuangzi, he expresses some sort of class consciousness. His critique of the idle Confucian elites may well be a response to a point made by the Confucian philosopher Mencius. "Some labor with their minds, some labor with their strength. Those who labor with their minds govern others. Those who labor with their strength are governed by others. Those who are governed by others support them. Those who govern others are supported by them. This is a principle universally recognized." Mencius formulates this supposed universal principle in a disapproving remark on a communitarian collective of his time. The leader of this collective actually did participate in ploughing the fields and weaving the clothes along with everyone else. Mencius regards this mode of production as not only economically inefficient, but more importantly, as uncivilized, because it does not set up proper social hierarchies or so-called human roles. For Mencius, Confucius' ritual propriety is needed to establish stable distinctions between, for instance, rulers and ruled, or men and women. Only these distinctions, Mencius believes, allow humans to emerge from a state of barbarism, where everyone lives almost equally like animals do. Gangsta Zhi, on the other hand, sympathizes with the barbarians and despises the self-appointed Confucian moralists for being parasitic. Confucian intellectuals maintain power over those who feed and clothe them by imposing an ethical regime. This ethical regime regulates the lives of those beneath them through behavioral training in accordance with distinct human roles. It establishes an artificial moral code centered on respecting hierarchies by creating distinctions between right and wrong. Gangsta Zhi charges Confucius with preaching an invented morality that endears him to the ruling class, because it justifies and cements their power and wealth. And that has profoundly polluted all culture and learning. Confucius, however, proves immune to the gangster's scolding. He duly follows the initial advice of Liu Ji, the gangster's older brother, and flatters Zhi in the most blatant way. Shamelessly trying to gain the gangster's favor, Confucius bends over backwards to praise the villain's good looks. This overt flattery leads up to an appeal to the gangster's self-respect. Despite the great righteousness and impeccable beauty that Confucius ascribes to him, the gangster is socially despised. From a Confucian moral perspective, he is a failure, but not because of his actual qualities, which, as Confucius just assured him, are wonderful. The real problem is that he lacks a proper name in society. The doctrine of the correction of names was of prime importance in early Confucianism. When, in the Analects, Confucius is asked about the first thing he'd do if appointed ruler, he says it would be to correct names. In short, this doctrine means not only that all words should have unambiguous meanings and be used accurately, but that a person's title and reputation should be perfectly in line with their actions and roles. Along with propriety in behavior, such accuracy in language was regarded as the main precondition of social order. In effect, this emphasis on names and titles functioned somewhat similarly to how brand names work today. It fostered an obsession with public prestige. In the Gangsta Zhi story, Confucius assumes that while the gangster has ample physical beauty and material wealth, he severely lacks the proper complement to it, official title and rank. From the perspective of Confucian ethics, this is a cause for great shame, and therefore Confucius cringes. He promises to fix this major moral problem for the gangster and suggests a thoroughly corrupt correction of names. Confucius was not only a philosopher, but also an experienced official and political consultant who once had a high government job in the state of Lu. He offers the gangster a vital service, a complete makeover of his reputation that will turn him into a respected leader and beloved ruler. Using his connections, Confucius will get the gangster his own state. Once this is done, the gangster will be completely legit and can embrace Confucian morality. He can share his new possessions with members of his clan and establish a feudal stronghold with them. All this will be perfectly in line with ancient religious customs. This, Confucius says, is the way crooks of all ages eventually become kings and emperors. And everyone loves it. But will Gangsta Zhi love it too?